Jessie Bates' future has been discussed, debated, and talked about for months. Could a trade be the best possibility for both sides? Hi again, everybody. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com and Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And that might sound outrageous, right? Trading Jessie Bates. Come on, James. What are you thinking? He's 25 years old. He's one of the Bengals' best young players. They drafted him. They've developed him. And he's one of the best safeties in the NFL. He was a game changer in the playoffs. And well, they at least need to have the conversation at Paul Brown Stadium. Katie Blackburn, Troy Blackburn, Mike Brown, Duke Tobin, they need to talk about it. And here's why they need to talk about it. Because it doesn't feel like they're getting any closer to an extension with Jessie Bates. And whatever. I don't know if it's David Mulligetta, his agent, being really hard to work with. I don't know if it's Katie Blackburn and the Bengals being difficult and stubborn in what they're offering him. But what I do know is that neither side seems to be willing to meet the other one, at least where they're hoping to meet the other one. And it might be guaranteed dollars. I'm not here to point fingers. But the point is, if you can't get a deal done, if you're the Bengals, then maybe trading him is the best route to go because he is 25 years old. He flashed a ton in the postseason. And when you look at this draft, the 2022 NFL draft, there are safeties that you could potentially add to your roster, whether it's the 31st overall pick or, anywhere in the first couple of rounds, a safety that you could add to your roster. Plus, you would get extra draft capital in a Bates deal. And that's the part of it that you really have to consider here. Because if you're the Bengals and you're not going to extend Jessie Bates, and they probably have a good idea right now, then what are you going to do? You just going to franchise tag him again next year and then let him walk? And potentially get a compensatory selection in 2023, or it would be 2024, actually. Are you not going to franchise tag him next offseason? And then, if you don't do that, then he walks next year and you get a compensatory selection in 2023 if you're not that active in free agency. That scenario sucks because you're left without Jessie Bates and you're a mid-round pick at best. At worst, you sign his replacement or sign somebody else to fill another void and you don't get anything for him. So to me, the Bengals need to look in the mirror. And I get it. They're win now. And maybe it's as simple as, they're going to tag him next offseason. In their head, they're saying, all right, we'll tag him worst case next offseason and then trade him. I understand that. I get it. At the same time, the Bengals very much in win now mode. And I get Bates makes them better. But if they're going to consider a safety at 31 anyway, and there are a bunch out there, Daxton Hill from Michigan is this like slot corner athletic guy who can play safety as well. Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State, two Big Ten guys. Jalen Petrie of Baylor. There are guys, Lewis Seen of Georgia, guys that you could get at safety. And then what you would do is add one of those guys, extend 27-year-old Von Bell, and you shore up that position while also adding an asset. Now, what would it take? For me, it's a first rounder. And it wouldn't be a late first rounder. Like the Chiefs have the 29th and 30th overall picks. I don't want one of those. I'm not sending Jessie Bates there. But could you get, I don't know, let's say the 22nd pick. And I'm just throwing picks out there. Could you get the 18th pick, the 21st pick? Something like that where now you're in a position to get that cornerback that you want and address offensive line, or get that cornerback that you want and take a safety with your first, couple of picks, whether it's a 31st overall or 63rd overall. I'm not saying I want them to do this. In a perfect world, the Bengals, they would be able to extend Jessie Bates and they would be able to keep him. But if they're not going to, they have to think forward thinking. And the other part of this that the Bengals have to talk about and look at is T. Higgins is going to be up next year, extension eligible. Joe Burrow, Logan Wilson, and the list goes on and on and on of guys that over the next few years are going to get paid. And so that's part of it as well, where it's a balance. And so do they want to be stuck paying Jessie Bates $18 million, $19 million, $20 million if that's what he's asking for? I don't think they're going to do that. And if you're not going to go there and that's what he's adamant about getting, well, then maybe the time is now to trade him. But maybe it's not. Maybe it is next offseason because he did have his worst regular season of his career. He also struggled, to bounce back from that until the playoffs. It wasn't like he tried to reset himself mid-year after the bye week. It didn't really happen. He did reset himself before the playoffs, and he bounced back. So the value might be there. It might not be there. But if you can get a first-round pick for Jessie Bates, probably top 25 for me. And maybe it's not a first rounder. Maybe it's the 40th overall pick and the 77th overall pick, right? And one's this year and one's next year. It's a third rounder and a first round or in a second rounder. Okay, but something of value that equals, a 25th overall pick type thing. I would consider it. I would. And I know people are going to say, well, Jamal Adams got 2 firsts. Yeah, the NFL saw how bad that was a flop, right? And Bates needs to get paid. I don't think he's going to be worth that. But could you get the value of a first? Maybe. And the Bengals, they have to be forward thinking here. They have to be proactive because they have a lot of guys coming up and they have to keep the pipeline going now. They need to be a well-oiled machine. And one way to do that potentially is, if you're not going to sign him, trade Jessie Bates. They absolutely should consider it. Is that a hot take? It might be, but it's the way I feel, and I think it's the way a lot of people should feel, including Jessie Bates and his agent, if they don't think a deal is going to get done with the Bengals, including the Bengals, if they don't feel like they're going to get a deal done with Jessie Bates. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got some interviews coming your way. The NFL draft 3 weeks away. Buckle up for that. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for our video coordinator, our channel coordinator, Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien, signing off for now right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.